who's actually doing the crime and what are we actually being shown.
What you're watching on television is only there because someone placed a camera there.
I'm not diminishing the human casualty or human loss over there because I know it's very real.
BLM and Let's Burn Down a City. The same producers that made that movie are making this one.
I'm saying we have two governments currently. Why did the media suddenly turn on Joe Biden?
We talked about Afghanistan, and it's almost like wag the dog. It's almost like, okay, let's create a war because we got to, manipulate some people, or we got to make some money, or whatever. Or let's not create a war. Let's just act like there is one. So we'll just like you're making a movie, right? Props, actors. Now, Scott, we talked about this may not be what people think it is. If it's not what people think it is, and it's something else, even though it has grown into something they probably didn't expect, what ultimately are they trying to accomplish in this specific incident of Afghanistan?
Well, again, I think there's a couple of key things. Number one, if I was looking at this from the rituals of this Luciferian order that we have that seems to be running the world, this would be a classic humiliation ritual to try to humiliate the United States and mar it to such a degree that its reputation is burned and no one will trust the country. On the next level, there is the false flag to distract from anything going on with the Arizona audit, which is supposed to be coming out this week.
Right.
But it's an interesting process because if you watch how that's been happening, it's supposed to come out and then they do something. And it's supposed to come out and they do something. This has been dragging on now for about 6 weeks. And it's interesting to watch. It's every time they keep dropping something, they try to do something. So in a strange way, I mean, they embolden the Muslim world and they embolden the Muslims here, is my guess, is the attempt. But I can't say that that's working, but I can say that would be the attempt because it's to try to show them that, that they are in power, that they're being given carte blanche authority to do whatever they want, and that Christians are always going to be the ones that are weak. They never stand up, they never fight, and it's always the Muslims that are fighting. The Islam does that because it's very strong, and it's kind of, especially Afghanistan, it's strong in its warrior culture mentality.
So Scott, the same producers that brought to you the riots in the street and BLM and defund police and Let's Burn Down a City, the same producers that made that movie are making this one in Afghanistan. Is that kind? I mean, I'm being a little.
That's pretty much it. I mean, no, I don't think you are. Actually, I wish you were. I mean, I wish it was a joke. I think we are witnessing that. There is so much about what we have seen. So let me relate another incident that happened, and then we'll come back to this. This is totally unrelated to Afghanistan. It happened in Berlin, and there was this charging attack by Antifa that came against the police. The problem is that if you watch the camera work, it was all done with a dolly. If you understand what that is, that's a motorized dolly that tracks motion. And it's like a little railroad track. That wasn't done by a handy cam. So somebody knew that it was a setup, the whole thing was staged. So right now, when we get into Afghanistan, it's very difficult to say who is staging what.
Because you're a filmmaker, you've made documentaries. I'm a filmmaker. I come with that. I tell people, Scott, that they're only seeing where there is a camera. Okay, in other words, what you're watching on television is only there because someone placed a camera there. Now, someone either placed a camera there for two reasons. They either saw something happening and they got to it, or they put it up there because they knew something was going to happen, right? We're talking about the second. In other words, a lot of this stuff is like making a movie. It's orchestrated, right?
Yes. And I'm pretty much convinced that the concept, unlike a movie, there are real lives that are lost here. So this is like a snuff film, but it's what you're witnessing is that there's people are ready to film, and there are definitely agitators that are getting these events moving, and then the panic is very easy to inflame. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not diminishing the human casualty or human loss over there because I know it's very real.
Yeah.
And I don't really care what faith a person is. That destruction that we're seeing is just heinous that they can do. The question really is, but the bigger issues of accountability go to who's actually doing the crime and what are we actually being shown. And those are really big things, because in the end of the day, we're going to find out, I'm almost guaranteed, that our media once again is complicit in trying to create, a panic state and a disaster, and encouraging even the bad actors to do horrible things. So we have just a very dark and evil group of people that are orchestrating this whole game. And it's all about ultimately breaking people's will and submitting them to a global control system, which is where they want everybody to stand.
Yeah.
The things that I would say to look at that are pretty big tells if something not right is happening is, one, this sort of activation of the civilian military assets. That's a big tell that this thing is not going anywhere by a playbook of the military. We have more than enough airlifting capability to move people out. That's not even an issue. And we have more than enough capability to put that on the ground and secure what we need to get people out of there. When you start calling up military air assets like that, that means that the military is not playing with your administration. So my guess is currently that, and this supports a lot of other indicators, that the military is not supporting Biden's act, this hand puppet we have for an acting president is not supporting that action. So the biggest event here overall is they had to create a massive false flag event, which, to be clear, false flags doesn't mean people don't get damaged and countries don't get wasted. And that's pretty much what they've done, is try to false flag an event so we distract from the Arizona audit and other things going on.
Right.
But to see the evil of these people, they'll trash an entire nation and wreck innocent lives just to protect their power base. So I think that's really the sum of all of this. Afghanistan has always been a quagmire, always will be. It's the tribal politics of the thing.
Yeah. So let's go back to the military. There's a couple things. Are you saying that the military is mad at the Biden administration and they're just not cooperating? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying we have two governments currently. You have a split government. You have a corporate government that's running out of D.C. It's using its corporate agencies and its corporate partners to implement all sorts of these nasty lockdowns and everything else that's going on. And you have a military contingent, not all the military, but you have a strong military contingent that is aligned with President Trump as the true victor of the election. So we are in a situation very much like Civil War in the 1865 or so. So we are in a period right now where there are literally two governments, though. Part of this operation, as far as I'm concerned, is they're letting we're seeing one group in power that controls the psyche of the people. And that's the problem, is that people are themselves in this country so buried in the narrative and so buried in the lie that they can't separate that from the realities, which are all the indicators are around them, and they've lost the capacity to think for themselves. Wow. And that's really where it's very easy to manipulate a situation like Afghanistan. Ask yourself how many pictures you've seen out, live pictures, and from outside the airport. I mean, everybody's focusing on key little snapshots. The way that the public is controlled here through the optics of media, you could have this thing staged in somebody's movie set studio, and that would be all that's going on, and they would believe it. Americans have lost a lot of the capacity to critically think and to work through these problems and ask hard questions. This has been another emotional, gaslighting that has just blown the country up. And of course, the other big question, which I'll give credit to Tucker Carlson for asking the other night, is why did the media suddenly turn on Joe Biden? I mean, these are things that need to be asked. Yeah. Because the media is not a trusted agent here. They're not a trusted broker, and they're definitely not going to do anything that's not going to work towards their end goal, which is to destroy the United States.
I want you to go and sign up right now to davidheavener.tv. It's exclusive just to the members. You'll see we have 10 channels, okay? We have the Prophecy channel, Saving Baby channel, the original TV series channel, the Health and Survival channel, Bible and Prayer channel. Please go and support the ministry by signing up. You can get 2 months free if you do it now, davidheavener.tv. Please, if you could go and order this End Times DVD collection. It has everything that we've been talking about on this broadcast, and even what we're talking about tonight with Dr. Lake. We're talking about the Antichrist. We're talking about Illuminati, New World Government. Just text the word bonus to 41444, the word bonus to 41444, or you can get a Legalize Jesus t-shirt and a mug, because we got to make Jesus legal. It's the first title of the first episode of Last Evangelist, Legalize Jesus. You can text the word chosen to 91999, or just go to davidheavener.tv/order, and you can pick it up.